Assalamu alaikum everyone. How are you doing? Ding ding ding. I hope it's not too noisy. Let's see, I'm gonna just quickly fix something. There we go. Nice. How's it going everyone? I remember this was a time, at least in Pakistan, where I was either reading something or playing some games. Or what are you up to? And this stream is not going to be any tutorial, by the way. So it's going to be much more relaxing. It's mostly going to be a bit of Q&A. It's going to be a bit of reading. So we'll keep it simple. Let's see. How's everyone doing? How are you doing, everyone? I'm going to be looking into a bit of coding, not too much maybe, but maybe a bit of coding, but majorly just planning out the next video that I was working on. So we'll potentially be looking into this a bit. We'll do a bit of reading. We'll do some question answers, and that's pretty much it. Muhammad Afan wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. How's it going, Afan? How are you doing? Alhamdulillah, I'm good. Thank you. What's up? Are you reading something, working on something? Because I see you're on LinkedIn. And let me know if it's too noisy from my side. I hope it's not. But if it is, let me know. How's the Ramadan going? It's good. It's okay. Alhamdulillah. Not too bad. I think the sleep is a bit, yeah, as it is. But apart from that, not too bad, to be honest. It's good. How's your Ramadan going? Saying looking for a job. Okay, awesome. Do you have a good portfolio to share already? Or how are you searching the jobs? Hello, Abdul Mu'min. How's it going, Abdul? Afan says it's not noisy, everything is good. Awesome. Good. By the way, as we did our live streams on the weekend, I'm not really sure if I'm going to be able to stream on weekend, especially because it's going to be the last Ashra. So I will try to not do it. I'm trying to spend some more time on Ramadan how it should be. But it's not too bad at the moment. Achieving some goals that I mentioned or that I shared before on the channel as well. So it's a mix of work, or would you say work Ramadan balance. So it's not too bad, alhamdulillah. It's like life is taking a lot of turns. How's it going for you folks? How's the weather? Because in Sweden, one of the things is when this time comes of the year, we have shorter nights and we have longer days. So I think today we had the sehri about 3:40, if I remember correctly, or 3:45, and it's going to be like it's going to come back a bit. So it's going to be 3:30, 3:20, and I'm not really sure when is the last one. So yeah, I think it really depends. And then the iftar is also going a bit forward as well. So yeah, it's gonna be fun, but it's not. We have had Ramadan in the past years where they were like, I think I've had sehri before even 2 a.m. and then the maghrib would be after, I don't know, 9:30 or 9:45 p.m. So that was like, Ayan Zikiria says, "How are you so calm? What do you mean? Should I be like, yeah, I think I'm good. Should I not be calm?" Abdul says, "I'm good. Thanks, bro. No problem. Good, good, good." So many people in here. Sadim Ahmad, wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah. Mariam, I mean, I think it's even worse for ladies because you have to work with Sari, you have to, you know, work with Tar as well. You have to go, most likely do groceries as well, especially if you have working men in the house. Then I think it's even more. And then you have to do like everything that you do regularly. So yeah, I can imagine. Shazeb, how's it going, Shazeb? Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. There we go. Mariam says, "I'm watching your session for the very first time. Welcome to the stream. Feel free to ask any questions, and that's what the stream is for." Afan says, "Thinking of some idea to build a project. Can't think of one." I mean, you can think of anything that helps in situations where you have already been, and especially if you have struggled at, I don't know, if you have struggled especially at any part of your daily work. I think that's when you can do it. To be honest, for example, one thing that I can give you as an idea, I mean, it really depends on like what's your skill set as well. But I think you can solve smaller problems like, maintaining or managing expenses. So you can have, alhamdulillah, you can have like an expense tracker, you can have tax calculator, you can have salary calculator, you can have salary projector, um, you can have HR management system, you can have a knowledge base with AI that you can give some PDFs or documents, and then it can give you some responses based on the documents themselves. So like creating for the companies. So those could be one of the things. You could also have AI chatbots for books, for example, for authors. So you could create like a platform where if authors can provide their PDFs, you have people can come and ask questions. These are all the things that I've built similar things myself as well. But you could also do the same, to be honest. So I mean, there are so many things. Or you just ask ChatGPT and then it's gonna give you a good answer. I think I'm gonna walk a bit more. So Sadim says, "Sir, I'm Sadim Ahmad Khatri. Nice to meet you, Sadim Ahmad Khatri. I study in SMIT. Nice, nice, nice. I think I've been to SMIT, or no, I haven't been to SMIT actually. I have been to SSUIT, but not SMIT. Ryan says, we met at the Google event at Texel. Okay. So your question was, how am I so calm? Was I not calm when we met at Texel, or what do I understand? इस बात को मैं क्या समझूं? Abdul Momin says, I'm starting a new position at Angular dev and I have no experience in it. I'm a Next.js dev mainly. No problem, Abdul. If you have not looked into my Angular crash course, I would highly recommend looking into this. It's like a 90-minute crash course. So it goes through the basic concepts of it. I've not covered obviously everything that Angular has to offer you, but you can still look into like the core concepts of Angular. What are components, what are directives, what are Angular services, what are pipes. Those are the core building blocks that once you understand those, you can actually start building applications yourselves. Or when you even use third party libraries, you would have some understanding of like what is there. So have a look at the Angular crash course if you have not already. Otherwise, I think angular.dev, the official Angular website, is actually really good. So you can also follow the tutorials from there as well. So I hope that helps. Kishan, hey, how's it going, Kishan? How are you doing? So Abdul Momin, I think I gave you an advice, but if you have follow-up questions, please feel free to ask those. Kaisa really says, what are the tips to crack a React interview? The first thing that you need to do is to Google React interview questions. And if you have the interview in the same region, for example, if you're in Pakistan and then you have the interview also in Pakistan, then the interviewer is going to do the same most likely. So Google it, go through 2 to 3 links, the top links, take out those questions, try to understand those, try to also implement those as well, like code them yourself. For example, React has like context API, React has we have use state, we have hooks like use state, use effect, use callback, use memo. There's so many things, right? So you learn those and you try to code them as well. If you haven't looked into my React Essentials in Urdu crash course, or not crash course, but React Essentials in Urdu, you can also look into that as well. But it's a bit longer. I think it's like more than 14 hours of content. So you can't really do it in a week, so to say. So look into courses, my course or anybody who is good. For example, Kent C. Dodds is a really good tutor that you can look into. So try to Google interview questions, try to list them down in a Google Doc, try to practice those concepts defined in those questions, and then look into good courses. I think that would be my suggestion. Taqir Malik says, best project for front-end dev, please. There's no best project and there's no perfect project. You have projects and that's pretty much it. So you start building a project. It could be that what project you build, you end up using it yourself. It could be that you build something that other people start using. It could be that you build something and nobody uses it, right? But it doesn't really matter because in every single case, you will yourself learn quite a lot. And that should be your goal. Your goal should not be to build the best project. There's no such thing as a best project. Your goal should be, how do I learn or how do I grow as a developer? And when you talk about learning or growing as a developer, the main thing is that you get stuck into problems and then you solve them. If you don't get stuck into problems, you don't get experience. So there's no experience without struggle. So you need to just build stuff. I think that's what I would do. Mariam says, I'm a total noob when it comes to programming. I think I'm an odd one here, so no questions, Abhi. Okay, I would say look into this free web dev course if you haven't looked into it. Okay, I see your question as well, so I'm gonna pick your question. For someone who wants to start web dev, which video from your channel do you recommend watching first? I would say go to code with sn.dev, and I'm gonna share my screen. Give me a quick second. So that's your question. So you go to code with sn.dev, and if you go to courses, I have this web development course. There are more than 1,500 people actually following this. And this is from the very beginning. That is, it actually starts with you installing like software that you need to work with web dev, like your code editor, Git, and all those things as well. So if you go through the curriculum, this is a complete course. I don't like to use the term complete because there's no such thing as complete, but it will give you enough information to get started and actually start building web applications. And this not only has like lectures, but it also has activities as well. So you actually end up building a bunch of things. For example, in here you build a horizontal and vertical nav bar. There's also I remember there was also this Pugum game as well that we built, basic addition calculator with JavaScript. Then we had something here like Pugum game in JavaScript as well. Okay, this is asking me to log in. I'm gonna show you actually, so not to leave astray. And I've shared the link in the chat, by the way, so you can see it right here. That's the link. Code with SN.dev courses web dev basics. And if you look at, for example, what you would do, I think one of the most interesting things that you would do is going to be this one. So if I go and here and towards the end, so it's like so you see here, it's like the regular Pugum game that we usually have. So you have like to this or this. So you build this with JavaScript, and then you play against the PC, and you have to pick obviously one yourself, and you win or you lose. So this is like one of those activities that we do in the course. So it's really interesting, and this is basically designed for someone who is an absolute noob who doesn't know anything about web dev and wants to actually grow their career as a software developer or a web developer. So look into the link, and you can see that on the screen as well. Okay, let's see. Looking at more questions. I accidentally clicked Musab's message, so let's have a look. Musab says, Assalamu alaikum, how to stand out as a front-end dev in this AI era? You need to build applications with AI. You need to put them on GitHub. You need to add a good README for developers who are coming to your repository. You need to deploy them somewhere so you can show off to other people. And then you need to talk about it on LinkedIn. That's what I do. It's not for everyone, but I think if you want to really stand out, you have to do it in a way that others are not doing. And I think that's my strategy, at least, that I keep building applications. I try to invest some time in AI as well. That is learning the tools, experimenting with them, using them in my work as well, and majorly to learn or to automate stuff. I keep a sort of a boundary between how much I rely on AI, because I want to learn as well and grow as well. So I don't let AI do everything for me. I learn from the process itself. So I think that's what you could do. But when you talk about standing out means that you're showing to others that you are standing out. Or if you want to do it yourself, then obviously you need to spend more time learning, etc. But if you want to stand out in front of others, then yeah, that's the strategy that I talked about. Okay. Salim Ahmed says, Sir, I study in Silani Master Training Program in Pakistan course for full stack development. Sir, you have shared my many ideas with me, please. Okay, I think I shared some ideas with you as well. But do you have more questions? And then you can ask those questions from me. Is your project Quran Notes Keeper complete now? Yeah, I think for now it's complete. I mean, we can always add more features, but I think we don't need to do it unless we really have something or we really need to. So one of the things that I do know that, for example, I mean, there are little bugs here and there, for example, or UI improvements, for example. So if I go on the mobile view, I don't really like how it looks on my phone. So you see how this looks here. So these should probably look a bit better. There should be like a space between these two and then these two. This delete should be here. So edit space and then delete, viewers space and share, something like this. Or having like a, what do you call it, the more menus, the 3 dots, and then you have a drop down coming from there. So I mean, these are improvements that we could work on. But I think in terms of the feature set, I think it's pretty decent, to be honest. So I hope that answers the question. Abdul says, I'm watching your crash course. Actually, it's pretty good. Thanks, bro. No problem. Happy to help. Ryan says, we met at the Google event at TechSale. Yes, you told me that. Talha Tahir says, Salam, I've built and deployed several Angular 9 projects with Google Generative AI NPM package on Vercel. Google Generative AI. Okay, my question is, how do I know, or how can I know if other people are also using my projects? You can implement Google Firebase Analytics, or Google Analytics, so to say, via Firebase. So Firebase could be one of the things. You also have other tools that that provide you analytics like a mix panel. So you can look into mix panel, you can look into Firebase Analytics, and you can put analytics over obviously your website, and you can also put analytics on actions. For example, if you had a productivity application like a Pomodoro timer, so you can put into when the user starts a timer, pauses a timer, ends the timer, and then you can go into analytics and see how many people actually click there. So that's one of the things that you could do. So I hope that helps. And with the even with the Google Generative AI, you can look into when someone uh, sends a prompt or sends a question, and what does the AI respond. So you can also save those information as well. Tokir says, "Sir, actually I'm studying in first semester and want some guidance. Sorry, genuine advice to continue my degree or learning new technology every day." I think learning new technology every day is actually a bit too much. It's probably not smart at all. It's like I start learning basketball one day and football second day and the cricket third day. I'm not going to be good at anything at all. So, what I usually suggest, and what was suggested to me like all those years ago, about 11 years ago now, is that if you want to be really good at something, you need to spend at least 1 year on it, and you need to keep growing in that particular field. So for me, I have Angular as my core expertise. So I keep learning Angular. Whatever comes new in Angular, I look into it. I try to implement it. I try to experiment. Try to know more, be good at it. But that's my core. Apart from that, I try out a few things as well. Like I try out AI tools. I try out backend. I try out a database. I'm looking into Python as well a bit now. So those are the kind of things that help me at least have a good job based on my core expertise being more or being better than other people who are working on like 5 different technologies, and they are not as good in Angular, so to say, or they don't have an experience in Angular as I have. So I would suggest being an expert in at least one single area, and then you can keep experimenting with others. So I hope that helps. Talha says, I've seen people say that they have particular number of users. Yeah. So you can use Firebase or Mixpanel, and that actually shows you how many users you have. But you can also do other things as well. For example, what I showed just now is I'm actually storing the number of users who are enrolled in my courses. So I can see in this course we have like 1,532 people enrolled in this course. On this website we have 58, 57, 250 students, 368. So it's up to you how you implement it. You can programmatically save them into into Firebase or any other database, or you can use analytics tools. And one of the basic things that the analytics tool give you is how many people come to your page. So it depends on what kind of analytics do you want. Do you want to see how many people are using your application? Then you need to track them yourself programmatically via whenever someone logs into your application, you consider that a particular user. Or you can also do it in another way. For example, if you don't have authentication or login, log out in your apps, you can just consider when someone comes to your application, you create a user within the browser. You can use something like local storage. So for example, if you come here, you can say, local storage, and then whatever, set item, and you can say, this is my user. It's hard to walk and code at the same time. So you can say look at that. So my user, and then here you can say SN. So now you have a single user, right? And even if you refresh, you can actually get that back. So you can say local storage dot get item, and then you had my user. I think that was the one, right? And you get back ASM. So it is saved in the browser. So if this is your web app, then you can always see if local storage has a user. If not, that means this is a new user. And then you create a user in your backend and then increase the count or whatever. And if there is already a user here, that means that you already probably have that counted. So you can go like this. Shazib says, Quran Notes Keeper still has issues in verse number. Could you give an example? I think I fixed it when we are creating a new one, because there was an issue with debounce. You may want to refresh your application if you have not, because I know there was an issue with debounce that when we were sending a query, it was sending multiple calls, and then the response would be like, I type something later, but the response comes first, and I type something before, and the response comes later. So it was like a race condition happening there. But in here, for example, if I say 3 and 4, you'll see that it waits a while, and then it sends the call. So I think we should not have an issue with, and the number that we have here is also now being shown from the backend. So I think we don't have that issue anymore. For example, if I do something like 5 4 5 4 5 4 5 5, or and then I say 55, you can see that it sends a call for 355. So I'm pretty sure I fixed that, but if you still find it incorrect, then you can let me know. Mariam says, thanks a lot, no problem. Afan says, I'm learning from code with Essence course covering the fundamentals. Then got an internship and got experience working with Next.js and Node.js. I will highly recommend a beginner to start. Awesome, thank you. That's really good to know. Thank you for sharing, Afan. Alexandru, how's it going? Hello, I'm an Angular developer. From where can I learn Angular architecture? I want to grow more. That's going to be interesting. I know some channels. For example, you can look into, I think it's called Decoded Frontend from Dmitry Mishensky. He's an Angular GDE as well, like myself. But he has, I think, a bit more videos. So you can look into those. When it comes to Angular architecture, I have a particular application coming in. You have to wait for it for a while. I can show you maybe. So this is an Angular app that I'm working on for the tutorial of. And this is like the whole architecture. So we have the front-end web app, we have the Nest.js backend, we have GraphQL, we have Firebase for authentication, Cloudways, who's the sponsor and also where we will deploy our applications. And then we have like whole architecture for the Stripe checkout as well. So this is gonna take some time. I can't do it at the moment. I'm really slow in Ramadan, even though that should not be an excuse. But yeah, I think after Ramadan I'm gonna be spending a bit more time on this. But yeah, you can wait a while, or you can look into Decoded Frontend. That's what I would say. I hope that makes sense. Mubashir says, okay, I'm gonna have 1 kilometer soon. In Pakistan, project-based systems typically rely on ERP or management systems. However, I'm a bit confused since many systems like Dynamics that already exist and they are entering the market. What's your question? I don't understand the question. What you have mentioned here is a statement. So what's the question? Can you elaborate a bit more? Shazib says there's an issue in verse bounds. Try selecting a surah 114 or 113 and then increment the verse number. It will go beyond the total number of verses in that surah. Ooh, interesting. So if I try to go to 1 and if I say 55 and if I increase it, it doesn't really increase it. So I'm gonna share my screen as well. So if I say, sorry, give me 1 second. So if I go here and say 1 and if I say, or actually say 2 3, then I say 55, I get 355, then I say 1. Now it tries 155. That's an issue. So this one is a problem. So this could be fixed. But if I try to increase the number here, it won't work. I could also say 56 and it tries to send this call. Okay, now I understand what you mean. So ideally, when we change the surah number, the verse should actually become empty. We can probably create a ticket for this because there were a couple of folks who said they would love to contribute. So let's make that happen. So where are we? Let's create a ticket here. Mm-mm-mm-mm. So changing here, we can say a bug, changing the surah number should reset the verse number. Right now, if we have the surah and verse already in the input and we change the surah number, the verse number does not get reset, and we start or we send invalid API calls. Okay, so let's do it like this. Thank you for reporting this. Done. Good work. Okay. Afan says build project using AI. Does that mean integrating AI in projects or like learning from AI itself? I mean using AI in your project, as in your application should use AI. So, like a chatbot, a RAG system, something that uses an AI model to do something, like creating images using some diffusion model, or using the on-device models from Hugging Face using Transformers.js, something like that. That's what I mean. Sorry, I'm a bit slow on the messages. Mubashir Sakil says, why are mostly management system or ERP based solutions created in Pakistan? Some prefer to focus on ideas rather than finding the best one. Hmm. I'm not really sure if that statement is correct. Why are mostly managed systems or ERP based solutions created in Pakistan? I don't think so that they are created in Pakistan. I think they are created almost everywhere in the world, depending on the demand from other people. Because almost everyone wants this, what do you call, the management systems for payments, accounting, whatever, HR. So I think it's not just Pakistan. But yes, I do understand that one of the biggest things that we work on in Pakistani companies is ERP, because that's in demand, to be honest. And companies being companies, essentially, um, they spend a lot of they spend a lot of time in things that bring more money. And since ERP is in demand, that's what people are building. So I hope that makes sense. It's like demand and supply. Salia Shujad, wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Mubashir says the problem in this case may be that instead of working on new technologies, we focus on creating CRUD APIs or building businesses without investing enough time in emerging technologies. Emerging technologies is not something that we should focus in. We should focus on what brings more value. And obviously, we cannot really compare ourselves with countries which are more developed. So where the economic situation is much different. So you need to also take this into account that a lot of companies in our country is actually in survival mode. So they would look for work that brings more money, and especially if the work is something that's repetitive. So if it's repetitive, it has less effort and more income, so to say. That's why a lot of companies focus on that. However, when a company has this luxury of investing more time and they have this culture, this mindset also of providing innovative solutions, if they do it, then obviously they're going to perform much better. But it's not just investing time in implementing something or creating a solution, it's also a lot of marketing as well. And it really depends from country to country. It depends from company to company as well. It also depends on the budget of the company as well. How many people are there? Where this company is located. What do they have good network with managers? Do they have good connections? There's so much that goes into it that you and me cannot really think from top of our heads. Saliha says, Assalamu alaikum. I'm planning to build an Umrah journey app using React to assist pilgrims in English slash Urdu. What essential features would you recommend for such an app? Are there any best practices I should follow? I think it essentially, there's so many things that come to my mind. For example, I mean, if you talk about the whole journey, then planning the journey itself, how many days here, how many days there. Then it's also which hotels could be part of the journey. So that also includes booking. I'm not really sure if you're doing that. Even if you're not doing that, if you can give an option for like putting a location in your application on where the person is going to stay, I think that's also good. Then also all the duas that go when you're doing an umrah, so all of those things as well. The whole method of performing an umrah, also information of where the miqat is, how to go there, Google Map directions to there as well. So I think those could be one of the things. One of the biggest problems when it comes to umrah and hajj is people get lost. So if you have some way of handling that, especially when especially with older people who don't really have smartphones, they have like a simple mobile phone. So using something like Twilio or a service that sends SMS, and for example, if you have a number where they can just send a message and then that initiates a call or something, I think that's probably going to be the best. So that could be something for sure. Musab says, can you show what you're working on? Also, I'm taking your React course and it's been helpful. One more thing, has coding continuously ever affected your mental health? If so, how did you overcome it? I can show for sure. I'm gonna try to see how I can do that. Give me 1 second. Maybe I need to join from my phone. So let's see. And let's see. And when it comes to mental health, I think it's really important to balance the time that you're spending on learning and also resting as well. I, I don't think I'm the right advocate for this because I've been known to not do that myself quite a lot. But I think still, sorry, I'm going to just stop it. Okay, it says use Safari. That's not good. Okay, let's see. Beep, beep. So give me 1 second. But I think focus time is really important. So you plan your time in advance, like how many hours you're gonna sit, and then just get up from there. Because most of the times you also need to have a bit of rest as well. So that's really important. Essence phone. Let's see if I can help. Nope. Test. Okay, there we go. Now you have two of me. Do you see the difference between those two? Okay, let's see if I can switch my camera. Did my main camera die? Give me 1 second. My main camera died as soon as I joined the stream. I'm going to change my camera's battery. And let's see. So it's gonna come to life really soon. Okay, so this is what we have. So if you see, this is the one. I don't know. Maybe I should show it like this. So it's a small treadmill that I can walk on, and yeah, that's pretty much it. Let's get rid of it. And I don't want to show my table at all, of course. Okay. Leave. Okay. Shazib says select Surah 114 or 113, then increment the verse number with arrow. But did I not do that exact thing? If I come here and if I say, I'm gonna bring your message again. Select Surah 114, and what do I do? So here it does say value should be less than 20, but if I mouse click it, it doesn't really do it. At least on web it doesn't do it. I'm not really sure if it goes down. If I click down, it jumps to 20, right? But I think if we just do the same thing, if we fix this bug that I mentioned here, then I think we should be fixing everything. Essentially, the idea is that whenever we change this input should be empty, and that would not send any call, and that would also fix this issue of like up arrow, down arrow. So I hope that makes sense. Coming back here, Omar says having a good grip on front end only is enough for growth. I think knowing both front end and back end is not good. Share your thought. Hmm. I mean, it really depends. To be honest, my expertise is on the front end. I don't consider myself an expert of back end. I consider myself as a full stack developer who is front end focused. So I am really focused on the front end side. So if you are really good with front end, I think it's good enough, especially in the roles where you're supposed to be a senior front end developer. You're not supposed to be a back end developer. So you're probably not going to work on things like Python, Java, .NET. You're probably not going to work on those things. So pick one single area and pick one single tech stack that you can see that there are jobs in the market for. Don't compare which has higher jobs, because if there are jobs, then there are jobs. You don't have to pick the technology which has the most jobs in the market. That's not the way to go. The more jobs there would be, the more competition it would be as well. So, and I mean, regardless if there are more jobs of a technology or lesser jobs for a technology, as long as there are jobs, you just pick one tech stack, you excel in that tech stack, you do your best, you learn, you keep growing, you build a lot of projects, you share those projects on LinkedIn, you share those projects on GitHub. I think that's the idea. So, so I think that would be my go-to approach for learning anything or to build a career, that you pick one niche, you pick one tech stack, and then you excel in that. You still have to at least spend like a year to get something, to get good at something. I hope that answers the question. Shazib says it says value must be less than or equal to 20, but Surah 114 does have 20 verses but 16. Ooh, that's a good point. So that means that we don't have the correct information in the code. Can we have a look at it? So let's see, and feel free to ask any questions in the meantime. Also, if anyone wants to come on the live stream, they can also ask for the link. So if we go to source, I think we had in lib utils maybe. So here we have, we have 9 and 6, right? So let's see if this doesn't. Let's take this function out. Let's see what's wrong in here. So we have this function. Wait, what happened? Let's remove the TypeScript types here as well. So we say function. Do we have more types here? No. Let's create the function here. And we say get max verse number. Which one did we pick? 114, right? And here it says 20. So that's wrong in that case. But it sends this number back. So let's have a look at here. So this is what we have. How does it have 119 here? I think that's probably what's wrong here. Da, 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 da. Yeah, I think that's what's wrong here. So we have 114, which says 17, but it says still tries to get it from 113, I think. That's what's wrong. Exactly. I think something is wrong. Let's have a look at Quran Nodes API. I don't really want to make the when we get the surah. So we got surah number 1, number of ayahs. So we do have the number of ayahs here. So let's actually take this from Quran.com and not from the other place, because we don't really want to make API calls here and there. So what we can do is we can actually use the same code in here and fix that. Do you want to see how to fix that right now? Do you want to see me code React at all? If yes, type yes in the chat, and then we can spin up the Quran Notes Keeper application locally, and you can see how I build it. Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. I'm going to quickly go and bring some water. Be right back. Hello, Hassan. How's it going? Are you able to manage your work, prayers, sleep during Ramadan? ये नहीं पूछता है. ये नहीं पूछता बिल्कुल. Okay. चलना चाहिए. Let's bring it down. सही. Yeah, I think it really depends. I have a very supporting wife, alhamdulillah. So she helps me quite a lot. जहाँ तक prayer की बात है, I think it's it's obvious. There's no compromise on prayers, of course. So that's not even a question on how to manage prayers. It's the same as eating, going to the bathroom, taking a shower, one has to do it. I think the prayers are obviously more important than those. So there's no problem in prayers, of course. Sleep is one of the challenges that I usually have. So I mean, there are times where I'm not really 100% when it comes to being productive. So sometimes I have to take a day off. Sometimes I have to sleep a bit more and manage time here and there. So I think that's what it is. But I try to balance it as much as I can. I don't have any, to be honest. I don't have much hobbies, so to say, apart from my family, of course, my kid, my wife, and then it's just work. So no other hobbies, so to say. And even if we have other activities, it's usually more with the family time. Why do I keep seeing this one? I'm gonna remove this. Hide. Okay. So React time. Feel free to ask more questions. Bring them. And let's see if I can bring in my, sorry, I'm gonna just, no, let's not do it. I'm gonna do it later. So Quran notes keeper. Okay. So good pull. And okay, let's see. Not Azure. It's not what I want to click at all. So we go and pull the code. Everything seems to be fine. So what we look into, sorry, what we look into now is this guy. So we go to Quran API and we copy this data, right? Then we go to our code and we go to utils.ts. So I have a function right here which helps me analyze how many verses or how many surahs, sorry, how many verses are in a surah. But this is inaccurate, of course. So what I'm going to do is we're going to take out the response right here, and then we are going to use that instead. So let's see. So we have data number. So let's programmatically first refine this. So if I go here, I can open a terminal. And if you don't understand something, just ask me to revise, and I can help, I think. So this is the Quran API, which is alquran.cloud. And you can basically get authentic data from here as well. So now if I go and say response equals, we basically assign this to an object. Now I can say response, and you can see this is the object that we have. And this is an object that has data as an array, and it has 114 items here. So I can say const surahs equals, and then I can say response dot data. Now I have surahs as the variable, and if I look at surahs, here I have 114 surahs. You can see the length right here, 114. Okay. So we have all the surahs here, and then we have the English name as well. We have the translation, we have the number, and then we have the number of ayahs and revelation type as well. So what we can do here is we can actually now stringify this, and actually what we need is we're going to take the name, I think. I'm thinking, should we, because I don't really use anything at all, and even though I'm really tempted to use all the data, all I need is number of ayahs, to be honest. And I think we can also have the name. I think these are, or maybe the number as well. So name, number, and number of ayahs. That's what I need. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go here, and we can actually put that in a JSON even if we wanted, like here. And then we can, I'm thinking, should I put that in the code or should I put it in the JSON? I think I'm going to put that in a JSON because I think that's much nicer. And even if we won't make the API calls to Quran, Al-Quran, we will make API calls to this JSON. So here I can say data inside the public folder, and I'm going to create a new JSON file. Here we are going to say surahs.json, and then here I'll paste the data. Now what I want to do is I'm just going to paste all of this. So I have surahs in, which is an array. So I can say json.stringify, or actually we are going to first say surahs.map. And for each surah, we are going to return an object that has two things, that has the surah's name and then has the number. So we should have a name, which should have surah.name. Then we had, what did we have? Let's double check. So we had the name, English name, number of ayahs, and number. So we say name, English name, surah dot English name, number, surah dot number, and then we had number of ayahs, surah dot number of ayahs. So if I look at this object now, this only should have these four properties. So English name, number, number of ayahs. So we don't have the English translation, etc. So all of those things are not there. So what I can do now is, since I have this code, I can actually put all of that into a json.stringify, which converts this whole JavaScript object into a string. So when I hit enter, now I have the whole string. So I can copy this, copy string contents. I can go back to my code now, and instead of all of this, what I copied, and here now I have this array. I'm going to save it, and this should automatically format it because I have format on save enabled. So now we have this JSON which has 114 items, have the name, English name, number, number of ayahs, all of this. So this is one of the ways to do this. You could also give this to AI as well. What I would have done if I was not showing it to you on how to actually do it, what I would have done is that I would actually have copied this. I would go to aistudio.google.com. I would use thinking flash experimental or anything that is experimental, which has $0, sorry, $0 for input, $0 for output, which you see right here. So you would see it here. Okay. So flash, not flashlight, pro experimental, and then thinking experimental, up to you. So for example, if I go with this one, I could paste the data just like this, and I could tell it what to actually keep. And I don't even have to be specific. I don't even have to give the keys here. That's what I like about AI tools. So here I could say map the JSON array to only have Arabic and English name and the surah number and number of ayahs. So I've just mentioned this, right? I'm not even giving the properties. And when you run this, this would actually give you a JSON response back, as you can see. And it actually gives exactly the same response. So this is how you can fast pace your code or things you want to do instead of coding. But again, I can do it because I already know how to do it myself. And that's why I can quickly do it faster. If you don't know it from the beginning, then I think you should still go and do this. Or if you don't really care about learning at all and you want to get the job done, then you can also just leave it to AI. The expectation still should be realistic. When you do it like this, letting the AI do its thing, then you're not really learning, and then you should be okay with that. And if you're okay with that okay, I don't want to learn this, I just want to get the job done, then I think that's okay. So just to put it out there. Now you can see that for each thing, it essentially is doing the same thing. But we have already done it, so I don't need to do it anymore. So what I'm going to do now, and I'm going to go to utils, and here you can essentially give this a type. So what I'm going to do is, and here I can actually say that I'm going to try to fetch this information from public. So I'm going to actually rename this function just to keep this, so we are not really going away from this, right? Then what I want to do is I want to go and create a function called get max number. In this case, it's going to have surah number, but then it would also have surahs. The surahs here would be of a specific type. So we need to tell TypeScript what kind of types would there be. So we have a name that's a string. We have a English name that's a string. We have a number, which is a number, and then we have number of ayahs, which is of type number. So we have 4 of these things. So we can quickly go ahead here, and then we can create a type here. So we can say type surah from JSON. You can call it surah from JSON, or you can say surah, and in here I have this. So instead of this, what I'm going to say is name is going to be of type string. We have this of type string. We have this of type number, and then we have the same thing here. Is it saving it? Not saving it. Prettier is dead. Completed, and I don't know what had. The data is consistent. Okay, I don't know what happened. Anyways, so we go here. We replace this, and this. It should actually format it. Why is it not formatting? Format with prettier code format default TypeScript JavaScript language feature. I don't know why it's not formatting. Anyways, so we got the surah right here. Now we can, oh, because I think I have this error, that's why. My bad. So we say surah, an array of surah. Now it does it, right? So I just had to say surah here. I'm going to show it again. So if this was the case, I could just say surah and an array of surah, and then save it, so it formats it automatically. Good. So now when we have the surahs here, what we should do is we should just check the number. So we're going to get the surah by using the find method on the array. So I can say const contracting reflector. I don't know what the heck. Block list. Musab says Jazakallah khair and bye, no problem. So here we find the surah. So we can say const matching surah equals surahs.find, and we find the surah, right? So here we say surah, and we try to find by matching the surah number. So here we can say return if the surah dot number equals this surah number. So let's say we are trying to say get the number of ayahs of surah number 114. It's going to take 114 here. Then it's going to look at all the surahs, find the one that has the number 114, and then we'll assign it to this particular variable. Then what's going to do is it's going to basically return the number of ayahs. So here, what I should be searching is if we have a matching surah, then all it needs to do is to just return matching surah dot number of ayahs, and that's pretty much it. So keeping it simple, remove the comment here, and then we have null here. Okay, so we do it like this. Now that we have this, let's quickly run this. And one of the things that we also would want to do is once we have this max verse number, I'm not really sure if I'm using Zustand in here. I think I am. No, I'm not using Zustand. Okay. Okay, I'm not. Okay. So anyways, so when we have this max verse number here, let's have a look at where this is being called. So here we have get max number, and then we have get max number. Now I need to pass all the surahs as well, which I'm not at the moment. So I'm going to do it in just a bit. So let's actually install Zustand, I think, to keep this simple. Or, I mean, if I want to really, really keep this simple, I'm just going to load them right here. So let's say we go here, we say const surahs, or let me see. I'm going to say lib Quran API. So we have all of this here. We have share utils. I think we should have a constant here, which essentially fetches those things. So here I can go and say suras.ts, and here let's create a function called get suras equals this. We're going to initialize the suras here. So let suras, which is supposed to be surah. Oh, what do we have Quran surah here as? Number, English name. Oh, so we already have this. Ah, I already have this type. Sorry, my bad then. So then I can say let suras equals the empty array. Then we just fetch with, I think it was data. So we try to fetch this suras JSON. So we say data slash suras.json. Then, and let's make this function async. So we say async. Then here we say const resp or suras equals, or we can say rather res equals fetch or await fetch. And then here we can say suras equals await res.json, something like this, right? What do we do then? And here we can say export let suras. Undefined array is missing the following. What? Oh, sorry. Should be like this. So we assign the suras, and then whenever we do that, we essentially call this function. So now that we have this surah, we can essentially go ahead and run this function. So I'm going to go back to this utils function where we created our own type, which we should not if there's already one. So here I'm going to actually remove this. It should be Quran surah. So we already have that, right? Now, what we should do is when we have the get max number here, I think we can convert this to say surahs in capital, right? Or surahs list to be safe. Did I remove the voice recording of the notes feature? Yes, I did. I did for two different reasons. One, I found myself not using it at all. Second, it was really heavy because it loaded an on-device AI model from Hugging Face, and it made the app slow. So we need to release the memory. We needed to also make it performant, and then nobody was using it. But were you using it or no? Wakar Ahmed says, at what age did you get married? It's getting personal, I know that, but it's helpful for me. I guess because I'm confused about these things. About 6 years ago, if I remember correctly. Or 5 or 6. So, and I was about 30, no, 29 or 28 back then, if I remember correctly. And I'm going to also rename this file to say surahs list.ts. Now, when we call this function get max number, we can pass the surahs list. So when we come here, not only we pass the surah number, but surahs list, just like this. And I'm actually making it this way and not importing the surahs list right here to make this function a pure function. And those of you who don't really know, a pure function is a function which does not depend on external factors. It only works with the inputs. So this function requires two things: the surah number and all the surahs. So it looks at the surah number, goes through all the surahs, finds the matching surah, and then gives you a response. So it doesn't depend on anything external. That's why I've kept it this way. So whenever we call this function, we need to pass the surahs list. That's basically it. So I'm going to save, I'm going to put it here, and then I'm going to also go the bottom, and then I'm going to put it here as well. So we use this, then yeah, I think that's pretty much it. So let's save this. Then change the prompt to then we save node without typing or node. Says please record or type your node. Okay, then I'll look into that as well. So let's quickly go back. What did I do? Sorry, give me 1 second. I completely lost my restream URL. Here you go. Okay. I could not find it at all. Okay, now I have it. So we go back to localhost 80. So this is now running locally. And now if I go here, we can actually okay, let's see. So now if I try to go and say, you said 114, right? Wait. So we go with 114, right? Here I can say 21. And in here it still sends me 11421. That's if I hit top, it doesn't do it. If I go bottom, you can see it says 6, right? So now it's working fine. Now if I go to 113, you can see now it brings the right one. Okay, so at least this one is working fine. Shazib says, then change the prompt to when save note without typing our note says please record or type your note. When we are changing the note, do you mean when we are editing it? Do you mean here? Or where does it say that? Where does it say that? Type your note here, enter surah verse to preview. Is this what you see, Shazib, or do you see something else? I have a feeling you're on the old version of the application, or maybe I'm not looking at it the right way. Or where does the prompt say that? I'm gonna look at in the code at the meantime as well. Record. Do you mean here? Okay, maybe we can also say here. Save your notes as you read the Quran. The note form doesn't really show that, I think, because of the type your note here is basically there when we have edit mode and the transcriber is ready. Click save. Shazib says click save note without typing your note. Aha. Let me see. So here if I say save note. Okay. Here. Do you mean this one? Please record or type your note. Okay. Thank you for being clear. Please type your note. Saving. Okay. Now we try it again. Please type your note before saving. Okay. I'm going to move myself a bit up. Can I move myself a bit up? No. Customize. Shape. Names. Here. Please type your note before saving. So now we have this. I don't know why I think one of the things also I probably need to fix is how long it takes to actually remove the note. It takes a long time. So if I keep waiting, you can see that it stays there. If I click outside, nothing happens and then it goes. So it takes quite a lot of time. We should probably fix that as well. I don't know, maybe it was 5 seconds or 4 seconds or 6 seconds. No? 7? That's not good. So let's have a look at what do we call it? The snack bar? Toast. So we have used toast here. Toast remove delay. What? What? Add to remove queue. Okay. That's too much. How who added this? Who is the guy? Is that me? No, it's GPT engineer. Okay. So UI toast, toast props, blah blah blah. Add toast update, dismiss, remove. Okay. Toast limit. I'm pretty sure that's the one. I'm pretty sure. But let's have a look at other files as well. So we got toast. We looked at use toast. We also have toaster, toast provider, toast description, toast close, but that's just the UI. Toast dot tsx. This is the guy. I think I already started looking into this file, but I didn't see this. So I think this is the guy. I'm getting to the chat as well. Give me 1 second. So we have remove toast. We run the timeout, but we say toast remove delay. I think that's too much. Maybe we can have like 3 seconds. I think that's good enough. So 1, 2, 3. Does not go away. No, it goes away. 1, 2, 3. What about if I have 1500? Toast remove delay. So it says add to remove queue. Then it does a set timeout, runs it, and then it dispatches its remove toast. What does the remove toast do? Use toast. Then it comes here and filters it. Ah, okay. So I think when it removes it, it is still probably doesn't do it as fast. Let's try this again. One, two. It stays for a while still. I don't know why. We'll see. Ahmad Rehan says, "Hi, how are you? I'm first year UBIT student. Any guidance for me regarding what skills should you work on?" I mean, it depends what kind of area you're interested in. Are you interested in being a developer, a project manager, a testing expert, graphic designer? I think in university, the idea is that you learn as much as possible from the subjects, and then you try to figure out which one interests you the most. I think that would be what you should look for. Is that color toast sweet alert or custom? I think it's custom because I think it uses shared CDN behind the scenes. If I look at the toast here, oh no, it looks at React Toast. So React Toast is the one. And then we are using Lucid React and class variance authority. But essentially, no, but this is something different. Ignore what I said. But React Toast is the one that we are using at the moment. I'm gonna use. I'm gonna check set timeout usages. So we have note form, timeout ID, fetch words per, but that's not the one. Then we have this guy, toast timeouts. Toast timeouts. Where is this being used? Toast remove delay. Well, that's the one, right? This is the exact same thing that I have added. Toast timeouts dot delete toast ID, dispatch remove toast, toast ID. It keeps this map. Okay, never mind. I'm going to refresh this one time and then we'll see. But it's not 1.5 seconds. It's much more. You see? When I'm mouse overing this, it takes a bit longer. When I remove my mouse, it should take like 1.5 seconds. It doesn't do it. And I don't like it. Hamza says, "MashaAllah, MashaAllah to you too." that when you find the issue, yes, is UPIT degree has worth abroad? I mean, I think it's more important to be skilled than having a degree. To be honest, degrees are rarely useful. To be honest, it is just a means of filtering out people from those who have degree and those who don't have degree. But I think what really matters much more is the skills that you have, and if you can prove those, if your portfolio is strong. So degree contributes to things, but I would say not too much. So it doesn't matter. Okay. I think what we could also do, to be honest, is, I mean, you know what happens, or what I usually think is, I try to create issues for others to solve so they can also participate and uh, take some sawab out of it. But then if I keep fixing everything, then then it's all for me. Ha ha ha. But then I don't know, because that's why I create the GitHub tickets also, because these are small things that you could also look into. For example, things like, if someone knows React, of course, then you can start looking into how do I fix this issue where I have a verse that is um, more than the max verse number, so to say, right? So yeah, because this is the fetch verse preview what we're trying to get at the moment. This is exactly where you would see if the verse number exists in is in the surah or not, right? So yeah, did you push the verse number fix? It's not yet. I can fix those, but I wanted to double check. So if I do 10 here, what happens is, because I think that would also fix that issue, which when you try to enter a number that doesn't, or maybe it would not fix it. When you try to enter a number that goes beyond the max verse, it should basically reset it, or it should reset it to the number. So for example, here I could check if verse, verse is greater than this dot, no, not this dot, get max verse number, and we can say number surah, and then we have surah's list, right? If that's the thing, then what should we do? We should essentially say set verse to what? Max number. So we should have this max number here. So here we can say const surah max verse equals, that's not what I copied. So here, if the number is max than this one, then we just set it to this, and we also return from here. So we don't really fetch the preview. Otherwise, it's useless if we do so. So this is one thing, but I also want someone else to fix this issue, or I can allow someone else to fix this issue, that when I have some number here and someone changes the surah, this verse number should be reset. So what I'm going to do now is, for example, if I have surah 1, but I go here and then I try to type a verse number that doesn't exist, let's say 100, then it should reset to 7. You see, that's the fix that we just did. So if you try to go beyond the number, it automatically fetches the last verse. So that's what we could do, of course. And just to ensure that this doesn't really go into the infinite loop, we're going to put a breakpoint here. So I'm going to show you what happens here. So this is the one that we have, right? So whenever you change the number, let's say you go here, you say 100. Wait, sorry. Let's play this. So I say 100. It comes here, and now it's going inside here. So you have the surah, which is 1. I don't know if you can see it correctly. I can maybe do it like this. So you have the surah, which is 1. You have the whole surah list, that I showed you before as well. So all surahs list are here. So you go inside, you try to find the matching surah based on the surah number 1, and these are all the surahs. So you try to find the matching surah. It finds as Surah Fatiha is the first one, right? And then it also has the matching surahs as number 1 and number of ayahs as well. And then you go inside and then you basically return back 7. Once you do that, you come out of the function like this, and now you have a surah max verse. So the Surah Fatiha has 7 verses in it. Now it's going to check if what I've typed in the input 100, if it's greater than the surah max verse, which it is. So it's going to go here, and then it's going to set the verse, which right now is 100, to surah max verse, which is 7, right? And then it returns from here. So we never call fetch preview, so it's not going to come here. So if I hit play, it's going to come back here because of this effect. So it's going to come back to this particular timeout. So if I hit play, you can see that it comes back to the timeout now with this thing, the 7. So now if I look at the surah, it's 1. Surah's list is exactly the same, but the verse now is 7 instead of 100. So that was the whole idea. Now it goes forward. Now it checks, is it greater? No, 7 is not greater than 7. So it comes here. Now it fetches the right number and then it shows it. No more infinite loops, so it doesn't come back here again unless I change the surah. So these are good things to check actually. So I think we have solved the problem. So if I do 144, this bug is what I want someone else to fix. But if I go here and say 20, it would say invalid surah number must be between 1 and 44, sorry, 114. So here, if I say 200 or 200, it changes that to 6. But we need to fix this, that whenever this number changes, this gets resetted. So I'm going to quickly push this change at least. And let's see. So we change the index HTML. Instead of saying record, we removed it. We added the surahs JSON. We added the surahs list here. Good. We added it here. We added this condition. We changed this to type your note before saving. And then we also added surah list here. So let's add this, use toast. I think we just changed this guy, but we ended up, ended up formatting the whole file. So that's why it says I've changed quite a lot of things, but I think I just changed this guy. So by the way, if I was working, and my camera just died. By the way, if I was working in a team of other software developers, I would actually never push this code. So it's also important to understand that when you're working with other people, you want to not format the files in the branches where you're working on something. So if you're working on a bug or a fix, you don't push too many changes like this. So you don't format the file in the same PR. You create a different PR for formatting. So now you go here, you say surahs list. I already have that set. Then we go to utils here. We have Quran surah here. I think we can also remove this function because we are not going to use that anymore, this old surah function. So now that I have this, I can actually remove this. Save. Let's ensure it goes away. There we go. And maybe we can keep the comments. And we also have surah number, and then we also have Quran surah list of surahs. Right? Or we can say surahs. Containing relevant info. So let's push this now so we can add it. Hey Sid, how's it going? Good to see you. It has been quite a long time. How have you been? Adil says, I'm working on a small startup idea. It's an OLX type app if you know about OLX app. Yes, I know. What does your app do? Is it similar to OLX or does it have more features? Sid says, it looks like an interesting project that you are working on. Yeah, it's pretty nice. What if someone enters a negative number in the words input? That doesn't do anything at all. So if someone goes here and tries to say -1 or -1, you will see no network calls usually go. So if I say -2, nothing should go. So no actions when that's the case. When you hit some positive number, then it actually makes a call. Hello, Patrick Zek. How's it going? So I think we can quickly go ahead and push this change, but I also want to publish this to the end users so they also get the latest update. So I'm going to also go to the service worker and I'm going to update the version here. So 1, since this is a minor fix, so we can say git add, git commit, and here we can say release 0 1.1.1, and here we can say fix fix invalid verse max verse count verse number, fix the invalid verse numbers or max verse numbers, created a JSON file for surahs list, and then I think that's pretty much it. And also we removed the record keywords from UI. So we also remove those as well. So let's quickly push it. And we'll also tag the release as well. So git status, we got git tag. The last one was v1.1.0. We go ahead and we say git tag 1.1.1, and then we push the tags as well. Adil says, can you please check my previous comment, please? What was the comment? Was it the same? Aha, okay. Sorry. Hello, sir. I'm using NextAuth and a separate background Express node. How now I'm having issue how to secure my backend API. What do you mean secure? Are you using the since you're using NextAuth, you might be using some JWT tokens, right? Or what do you mean by securing? It also depends on how you have deployed your application or where you have deployed your application as well. So Shazin, I've pushed the code now. Not Netflix, Netlify. I also want to read some as well before sleeping, so we'll see. We have auto publishing locked. Production main deployed in 49 seconds. So this should be deployed now. Should we check the deploy? I think we can publish the deployed version. So let's publish this. Okay, so now the latest one is published, and we can also add this to the release notes as well. Releases, draft a new release, choose a tag 111, generate release notes, and we quickly say publish release. Cool. I think that was pretty much it. So we should have the new app. When we go to the new app, good, awesome. Shazib says it works. Good. Cool. So when we go here, we should load the new one. There we go. And now if I go here and if I say 114, if I say 20 here, it changes back to 6 and fetches the last one. Good. Cool, cool, cool. I don't know if I have the other project here. Maybe not. Have I shown you Privacy Shield, by the way, by any chance? Have I shown you the project that I built at the hackathon at Google recently? Or no? Ooh, was I trying to create it again? Yo 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 yo. Okay, this is something I was trying to work on. I'm gonna add this to stash so I don't share information which should not be. Delete these files. Git pull. Do we have both? Okay. Wakarama says, which platform is good for the NG application, Netlify or Vercel? I would say Vercel is okay if you want to use server-side rendering. Otherwise, if it's just a front-end application and you're not really using server-side, then just go with Netlify. Netlify or even GitHub Pages. I don't think even you should go for Netlify. GitHub Pages is for free. I also have a video on my YouTube channel that talks about this. I'm going to share it now that I have the chance. Should be somewhat here. Yeah, easiest way to deploy for free. This is the one, the fastest way to share your Angular projects online, which is essentially GitHub Actions. Solia says, I just checked out the repo and on running npm run dev, it shows Firebase error. How to fix it by creating project? Yes. So you go to your Firebase project and then I'm going to quickly show you. I hope I don't show anything that should not be shown, but I think this is my project. So when you go here, you're going to go to project settings. And in here, you have to create a web application, so to say. So I don't want to show all of that, but essentially you create an app here. And once you do so, you will be given some code, which has the API key and all of those things as well. So yeah, do that. And once you do so, then you should be able to just copy paste that into the env file. And once you do so, then you should be running it flawlessly. So I hope that helps. Shoaib Khalid says, Assalamu alaikum, bro, there should be a mobile app as well for Quran notes. What do you think? This is actually mobile ready, which means that you can actually use that on mobile. And this is a progressive web application. You can even use that in your own, what do you call it? In your computer as a computer application, or on your Mac OS as a Mac OS application, or on Windows as a Windows application, because this is a progressive web app. If you go to your browser, if you're using Windows, for example, you should be able to see there's a button somewhere here. I'm going to try to find it. Where did that go? By default, it shows here somewhere. Let me see if I refresh and it comes in. It says zoom here. I don't see it. Let's see. If I say Windows PWA Chrome download, not showing. 2023. I don't know why. It does show on my phone and I can install it like an app, but I can't see that here. It should actually show here a button by default, which is just not at the moment. Extension, manage extension, nah. Nope, I don't see it. Does anyone else see that? There should be a button. Maybe if I go to Edge, which I rarely do, and whenever I do, I almost start crying. But maybe it works there. Does it? Downloads, no. Apps, no. Here! Oh no. This is one of those times where actually Chrome has not worked, but here you can see install this site as an app. Maybe Chrome has apps as well. Does it have apps? No. Manage extensions, visit Chrome Web Store. Nah. Well, that's interesting. Oh, here. So cast, save, and share. So I found it. In the Chrome, you have it. I'm going to try to put myself back here. So in Chrome, you can see cast, save, and share. And here you can see install page as an app. When you click this, it would ask install this as an app. And this is exactly the experience that you would have on mobile as well. So just so you know, when you install this, you can actually see this like an actual app in Chrome, or sorry, in Windows. How cool is that? And I can now put it on the side as always. I could put it like this. I could maximize this. I could minimize this as well, apart from my browser. And everything works as expected. I can log in, log out, all of those things. So you can install this as a PWA, and whenever there's a change, it would prompt you to re-download or download the later version. So to answer the question again, we have this as an app. And now you can see the button here as well, open an app. You click it, it opens that as well. Always use Quran Notes app to open supported web links. Always use. Yes, there we go. I just checked out the repo and running npm dev. It shows Firebase how to fix it by creating a project. I think I answered that as well. So create a Firebase project and then fill the env variables from the env example. If you look at the project repository, you should be able to see here. By the way, feel free to star the repository if you think it's helpful. So here you should see an env example here. So just copy paste it, rename this to env, and then you put all those things, API key or domain project ID, all those things here. Is learning web mobile dev in 25 still worth it? Yes, it is. You still have a lot of businesses, millions and millions of businesses throughout the world who rely on exactly that. So yes, it's worth it. Farhan Ali, assalamu alaikum. Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Okay, awesome. So now I have 2 instances of the app. I'm going to close one of those. Cool. Awesome. And also when you're working with PWA, you can also set like the color scheme and all of those things as well. So I mentioned specifically in the code that this has to be green. And when you need to uninstall it, you can click here, I think, and you can uninstall the app from here if you don't really want it anymore. And when you do so, you can also try to find it here as well. So if I now say Quran notes taker, it should be able to find it here. So apps, you can see that in the apps as well, right here. So this becomes a native application. And that's why I think it's really good to have progressive web apps wherever you can. Shoaib Khalid says, that's amazing. Thank you. Mohal Faizan says, can you please let us know you OS you're using, Mac or Windows or anyone else? In my PC, what I use to live stream, I'm using a Windows. So simple Windows. And for sorry, I was looking at a notification. For my work at Scania, I use a MacBook, but that's from the office, so I don't have my own MacBook at the moment. I've been thinking about moving to um, moving to Linux, but I haven't been strong enough yet, so to say. Give me 1 second. I'm gonna quickly check something just to make sure that I have everything that is required to make things work. I'm going to show you a cool project. And note to the editor, when you're going to see this, you need to probably edit this to show the project as well. Oi, where's my browser? So if I go to localhost 8080, that's a project. But where is this guy? It's 8000. So this is the project that I created when I was working, or blooper. Let's do this again. So this is the project that I built at my time at the hackathon at Google last week. So what we were given was the problem of working with PII data, or personal information, or personal identifiable information, if I remember it correctly. But in general, if you have a data, or if you have a document which has personal information like name, address, or gender, or anything that can identify a person, this tool basically allows you to redact that information using this masking, or it could also allow you to replace with fake data. So if I remember correctly, I'm going to try to see if I have sample PII. So this is a PII document that that we are processing now. So for example, if I go here and redact the file, it's going to take a bit. It uses Google Gemini behind the scenes. But here you can see file processed successfully. And now if I come here, you can see that the date prepared by doctor, subject, employee ID, address, phone number, email address, date of birth, all of these things are actually redacted. That is the whole idea. Now, the bank information here could also be redacted, which it did not. So again, as they say in all AI applications, that AI can make mistakes. So that's why when you see the original here as well, you can see all this information here. For example, date October 26, 2023. So you can also see the original one. You can also see the redacted one. And this supports a lot of file types as well. You have docx, you have PDF, you have text files as well. And you can also use or replace with fake data. Now, since AI can make mistakes and you don't really want to rely too much on AI, what you can do here is that you can also fine tune your prompt to say, remove information about the bank as well. So here you can see that here we have bank account information, right? So here and here you can see for direct deposit, do not redact during test if possible. Anyways, I'm still going to say that we need to redact bank account information here as well. So you can customize the AI prompt here, or the AI prompt here. And here you can say redact bank account information also. When you do that, it will not also blooper. It will not only redact the general information that we did, it will also go ahead and redact the bank information here as well. So here now you can see the bank name, account number, routing number, all of that is also hidden. Super nice, right? But what if you know exactly what you want to redact, or exact terms that you want to redact as well? That's when it gets interesting. For example, I don't really want Project Phoenix to come here. And it could be that this is a huge document and then the name of the Project Phoenix is there like a lot of times. In that case, you can now also go here and specifically add the text that you really want to remove, for example, Project Phoenix. And once you do so, then it's not going to do its regular job, the optimized with your custom prompt, but also remove the Project Phoenix as well, as you can see right here. So you can be like really specific on what you want to do when it comes to PII data. And I think that is what you need in a tool to be safe, or for people to be safe when they're submitting their information, for example, for surveys or for, yeah, the general benefit of the society, so to say. So that's the whole idea. And you can also do with the replacing the fake data as well. So here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to remove this Project Phoenix here and redact the file. Now what you're going to see is you're going to blooper. You're going to see actually values that are not real. So July 12, 2024, this is redacted. And the original one was October 26, 2023. So you still have exactly the same information or the same content, but you have a fake value, or everything is essentially fake. So that is going to be the most interesting thing that you should probably look into. Alrighty. So that's one of the things. But what happens when you start to work on it quite a lot? What happens if you have, let's say, a CSV? So we are going to basically create, let's do this actually once again, blooper. So we are going to create a CSV file or data as CSV that we can actually work with, and we're going to try that out as well. So we are going to say, or actually let's try to search something on the internet. So PII sample CSV. Let's see, Gartner report. No. So here, scan database for PII. Okay, so we have this document that we can download as a raw file. And then I'm going to save this. And then we are going to try out CSV now. So I'm going to quickly go here, and you can see PDF, docx, blah, blah, blah. We can quickly go here. And I think we could actually get, no, not here. It should be here in the downloads. And there we go, sample data, CSV. Now, when you redact this, let's see what happens. You use Gemini API key for getting these responses? Yes, exactly. I'm interacting with Gemini, and for that, you need the API key from Gemini, just like OpenAI or DeepSeek. So in here, you see that now we have redacted all the PII information that you can see here, right? So this is the response that is redacted. This is the original one, right? In here, I'm going to say, for example, I can say do not redact phone numbers, just to be like more precise in this case. Let's see what happens here. All right, so here we have a situation where we have now genders for some weird reason, but here you can see the phone numbers are not redacted anymore, right? We have the state that could still be, yeah, I think it's a problem, but what I asked it to do, it actually did, but we have some side effects. So we can be more precise by saying only leave phone numbers and redact everything else. So here we can say leave everything else, which is PII, redacted. Or we can say make everything else, which is PII, redacted. Let's see if this does it this time. So now I'm giving you a live demo of how to do prompt engineering and make sure that you get the right response. So let's see. So now you can see that the gender is gone, the birth date is gone, and the phone is there. Hey, can I have this in the sound one as well? No, I can't see it. Anyways, hey, so that's how you do it. Salia says that's great. Yeah. Shahzeeb says, let me test. I have to actually work with the people who I built this for, and then I can perhaps decide what to do with this. It could be that we go with implementing this for them, or it could be that if nothing else, then this would just go and be open sourced. We'll see. No commitments at the moment. One more thing that you could also do is you can log in with Firebase with a weird project name, But when you do so and you do the same thing, for example here, and you say redact everything except the phone numbers, right? Or everything PII except the phone numbers. When you do this, you're going to see something interesting. I don't know what Unicode this is actually, to be honest. I got this from AI, but I don't really know what this is. So now we still see, yeah, we still see this hallucinating a bit. So I'm gonna say redact, or we will say do not redact the phone numbers, redact everything else which is PII. And then what I'm going to do is I'm also going to say this phone number should not be there. So I'm going to add this. So the first phone number should be redacted still. So let's see. Vokar says, how much time did they give you to implement the project in hackathon? They did give us 1 day, or on the day of the hackathon, but they also gave us the opportunity to start implementing everything from before. So we could implement, if we wanted, our own sort of AI models or other things as well, but that was not the case. But it was just 1 day when we had to sit at the Google office and then code. So in here you see the first phone is actually gone, it's redacted. The rest of the phone numbers are still here. So now we're going, now that you have seen the MVP of it, which is like the base case for this project to work with, I'm going to show you now the cherry on top of it, like what's even more amazing. And that is when you're actually logged in, you have a complete history of the whole files that you have done in the past, and you can see the complete information. For example, this one used this particular file type, PI is detected. When did I do it? Did I use masked, or did I use faked values? Did I use AI or just regexes, which is also an option there as well, by the way. And then if there were any custom values as well. So if you remember, I told it to just remove this particular phone number. So it also saves that. So when you're working with this on an organizational level, you essentially have a track of who did what, and then you can implement like admin dashboards on top of those as well. And then you can always download the files which are redacted or which have the redacted data. So if I open this now, I'm not really sure if I'm going to be able to open this. Let's say if I open this with VS Code, I should be able to see, yeah. So here you see like all the redacted data, just like this. So this really helps anonymizing the data, to be honest. And you can always go and redact as well. Show the information, delete the files. If you delete the files, it deletes the original file as well as the redacted file as well. So when you do a redaction here, when you click this button, it essentially loads this file again for processing. Now you can modify the parameters and you can do redact file again. So it redacts as well. So yeah, that's why you should learn how to be a full stack developer. And then you should create a lot of projects. Abdurrahman Ujjan, how's it going? Walaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I hope you're doing good. It has been quite a long time, Abdurrahman, since you have appeared on the stream. Mohammad Fazan says, amazing, you can publish application as SaaS. Yes. We'll see about that. But I think the idea is that the accuracy should be like top notch. Right now we are using Gemini, and I think most of the cases we get the data correctly, but I think we still need to maybe have, I don't know, maybe even have a fine-tuned model of Gemini, since I think Gemini is still one of the cheapest platforms out there. So I would still prefer as well, but we will see. I clicked on always. When did I click on always? Did I click on always? Ah, okay. Opening CSV file always on. Yeah, I don't really open CSV files. So So yeah, I don't think it really matters. Cool, cool, cool. How about we end the stream? I think I'm gonna read before going to bed a bit. But I hope this was something that you found interesting. Working fine after creating Firebase project. It can protect sensitive keys this way, says Soliha Shujad. Yes, when you're working with Firebase and you're passing the keys via environment variables, as in Vite exposed variables, this protects the keys. I mean, it really depends, to be honest. People who want to see the keys can still see the keys. But yeah, I think it just depends. If you really, really want to save the API keys, you can't really have them on the front end, unfortunately. You have to have them on the back end. So, yeah. Abdurrahman says, all good, just got busy. Elder brother's wedding. Ooh, nice. Nice, nice. Yeah, you can imagine how busy that can be. John Doe. Interesting. By the way, is anyone excited for the Angular Nest.js course that's coming up? I'm still in the works of finalizing that, which is this one. Still bits and pieces that I need to fix, to be honest. But hopefully soon. Saad Afzal says, can you please guide about opportunities and scholarship for MS program in Sweden? There are a lot of opportunities, to be honest, but I think it's very difficult to get into Sweden at the moment because of the embassy being closed. So I'm not really sure if you know or not, but the embassy of Sweden in Pakistan is closed at the moment. Or it's not closed, but it's not really providing immigration opportunities, or the immigration section is unfortunately closed at the moment. So yeah, it's a bummer. But if you can go and travel to other countries, I think, I'm not really sure. I think you can go to Thailand, or you can go to Ethiopia, which I think both of them are quite expensive and very far. So yeah. Yeah, it's not fun when we talk about embassies, especially Sweden embassy in Pakistan, unfortunately. But there, when it comes to scholarship, there are a lot of scholarships. Yes, you can look into the Uppsala University. You can look into KTH, which is in Stockholm. I think you probably would have maybe an easier chance in Uppsala, or there's also another one called Linköping. So you can look into Linköping University, which is really, really good. You can also look into Uppsala University, which is also really, really good. But I haven't done my master's from anywhere, so I don't know. Saad Afzal says, can you please... no, that I already looked at. Mohammed Fazan says, excited for Nest.js as learning it, and I like clean code and modularity. I suffer with code mess. I think what I've coded so far in the tutorial is pretty neat, to be honest. Even though it can get messy sometimes, but I'm trying to keep it simple. I'm also trying to, yeah, it's a bit hard for me to draw the line between, how much I should teach in a tutorial and how much I should just leave for the students to work on, which is going to be interesting. But I'm trying to focus on the areas which I think nobody teaches, or at least nobody teaches on YouTube that I know of when it comes to Nest.js. For example, I'm looking into some parts of Angular server-side rendering as well. I'm also looking into Nest.js plus GraphQL. I don't see that quite often on YouTube, or I don't know of a really, really good tutorial about that. And also, there was one part that I'm really excited about. I think it would probably come in the last part of the video, which is when we have to have authentication, Firebase authentication, but on the server side. So how do we ensure that we have server side Firebase authentication, or getting the token of Firebase and then sending it to the Nest.js backend, which also then validates that. So it's a really fun challenge. I don't think there's a good way of doing it, at least not that I know of, or not I have seen anywhere. So I think I would probably write an article about that as well once the video comes out. But I'm focusing on the video at the moment. Solia says, is the sign up of the Quran Notes app working fine? It's giving bad request error with Google APIs. When you go, you would have to go and enable authentication. So you can't just create a project and then it would start working. You would have to do a couple of things. I'm going to show you a couple of things and I'm going to give you some hints as well. Da 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 da. I don't want to show information of the user, so I'm just gonna try to be a bit sneaky. Can I say password hash parameters? Okay, I can do it like this. Good. So yeah, here you can look into this. Soleh demo. So here, when you go to your project, you need to go to authentication from the left and you need to enable it. By default, if you have not enabled it, you need to enable it first time. Then you will go to your sign in method here, and then you need to enable both email password and then Google. So you need to enable this Google. If you don't do it, it's not going to work for you. Also in the settings, you may want to add authorization domain, which would require, I think if you just work with localhost 800 or sorry 8000, it should work by default. But when you deploy it, you're going to have to add the domain here as well, because Firebase needs to know where to redirect after the successful login. So you need to add the domain right here in the settings as well. So that's one of the things that you need to do. Secondly, you need to also go to Firestore database and enable database as well. So you need to enable the Firestore database as well, enable it basically. Once you do so, then you're going to be fine. Another thing that I can already tell you that you are probably going to get stuck in is when we go to, for example, getting the data from Firebase or Firestore, we actually do it with multiple sort of sorting as well. For example, surah and verse and ascending or descending or most recent, which is the default one. So this fetching this data fast requires Firebase to have an index, and in the code we basically set a particular constraint, an index, that means that Firebase will try to see all the data and then hash them or index them in a certain way. So this query that you see here is faster. If it doesn't do it, the queries are going to be really, really slow. So when you go to this page, you're going to see on the console that it says something like it needs to create an index, and from the console you can just click that button and then it will take you to Firebase again, and then you will see that that index is going to be created. So you're probably going to see that like 2 to 3 times because we need 2 to 3 different indexes. Well, once you do so, it's going to be super fast. So the when we create indexes, that makes the reads, like reading the data, fetching the data really, really fast. The writes are a bit slow because as soon as you add a new note, it has to index or add that to index. So the writes are a bit slow, but the reads are really fast. But I think when it comes to nodes in this particular application, like not everyone is adding a new node like every second. So it's not a big deal at the moment, but the reads are still quite fast. So you need to enable authentication, you need to enable the Firestore database, and then you need to create those indexes. So I hope that helps. I should probably add that to the README as well. I'm probably going to create a ticket to do so. Otherwise, I'll just forget it. Abdurrahman says, I'm excited. I'm an intermediate in Next.js, 0 in Angular. I would love to learn more. Best of luck with the course. Thank you. Vakarema says, I'm learning Angular right now. Which method is the best? Fundamental based learning or project based? I would say project based. You always have to learn fundamentals, but you can learn them on the side. So like buy a book, read it on the side, but keep creating projects. That's what I would recommend. Is any of your content present on Next.js and its new version? No, not at the moment. I think you're referring to the version 13, right? I don't have it at the moment. Say update readme to add setup instructions including setting up auth and firestore and creating indexes. I'm just going to create it for now. Versions, features, pgig pop. I saw your JFocus, loved your talk. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Talking about the talk, I also have to get this guy rolling as well. I don't know if you are still here, Shazay, but this is one of the things that I also have, which is in the works, so to say. It's called, I used to call it Pulse Checker, but I'm going to call it Audience Meter later on. And this allows us to have people who go to conferences and give talks or sessions, or even like instructors or teachers, to get feedback on the session that they're giving, like a lecture or a session, presentation, demo, whatever. And I use it quite a lot. I think the talk I gave was this one. To be honest, Piggy Pop, the response from this talk was okayish, I would say. Some people liked it, but since I think majority of the people were basically of Java background, they were more interested in learning about the core concepts of Angular and not the use case. This talk was really well received, so to say, in other places compared to here. So if I remember correctly, it was like the last one. So 4th Feb is the one. So we have, and the data is completely anonymous here, so we don't need to worry about it. But here you can see things like misleading seminar title. It was a NX seminar, so not Angular. Less NX and more refactoring. Thought it would be more about Angular than building tools. For me, it was too Angular specific, but it was great example-based presentation. NX is a new thing for me, and which I will look into more. Very information and snappy. So like mixed feelings here. So we got a 2 out of 5, 5 out of 5, 3 out of 5, 4 out of 5, 7 responses. Not too bad. But I think this is the one, right? Yes, very informative. So we got a 3.7 out of 5, 3 out of 5, 3.6 out of 5, 4.1 out of 5. Was the talk fun enough? People actually enjoyed it, which I remember. But yeah, not too bad. But I can imagine like why was it. And I think it's, when it comes to misleading seminar title, I think I somewhat agree to that, and I would probably try to improve that going forward as well. Feathered delighted. Bhai, मैं beginner हूँ. How to start coding? Go to codewithsn.dev, and then you can go to this page named courses. Go to web development basics. More than 1500 people are actually following this course, so you can also follow this. I'm going to share the link in the chat. तो अगर मैं उर्दू में बताना चाहूँ तो यू कैन गो टू दिस पर्टिकुलर लिंक. आई एम स्टिल टॉकिंग इन इंग्लिश. अगर मैं उर्दू में बताना चाहूँ तो आप इस पर्टिकुलर लिंक पे जा सकते हो, और यहाँ पे आपको पूरा कोर्स अवेलेबल है. आप सारे लिंक्स पे क्लिक कर सकते हो. बहुत सारे लेक्चर्स हैं इसके अंदर. हमारे पास इंट्रोडक्शन है, CSS3, एडवांस CSS, जावास्क्रिप्ट एडवांस. तो इसमें बहुत सारी चीज़ें ऐसी हैं जो सीखने वाली हैं. यानी कि इफ़ यू कैन लुक एट दिस, तो बहुत सारे लेक्चर हैं और हर लेक्चर के अंदर कोई ना कोई प्रैक्टिकल एग्जाम्पल है. तो मेरी अप्रोच आमतौर पे यही होती है सिखाने की, कि मैं किसी प्रैक्टिकल अप्रोच को लेके चलता हूँ रादर दैन जस्ट थ्योरी. तो आई हैव दैट अप्रोच फॉर माई सेल्फ. तो आप यू कैन बेसिकली फॉलो दिस वन. ठीक है, आप ये वाला फॉलो कर सकते हो. codewithsn.dev/courses/webdevbasics. Mohammed Faizan says, PM says me that you're too obsessed with clean code. I try to keep things shorter and separated and clean, but PM says it slows progress. How much clean code should be? Wait, what a question. So I'm going to bring it here again. So the PM, the project manager, says you're too obsessed with clean code. And then I try to keep things shorter and separated and clean, but project manager says it slows progress. How much clean should be? Now, the thing is, if if you try to go, let's take an example. If you, let's say you were not a programmer and you were someone who does woodwork or creates furniture, right? And you have a wedding coming in, and you need to deliver the let's say a sofa that you're trying to carve, but you really want everything to clean, so you're taking your time. You lay down the cloth pretty nicely, you press that, and then you're cleaning it every 5 minutes just to make sure that you are working with clean things. The problem is that the lady who's getting married, she's going to be really angry at you, and even like their family, and it's quite possible that yeah, they find you outside of the shop, and then they be not so much nice to you if you understand what I mean. So I'm just giving a fun example, but the idea is that if you're working for a company who's working for clients, then your primary job is to satisfy the clients, and your primary job is to deliver according to the expectation of the client. It doesn't matter if you like clean code or not, if it doesn't matter if you like tests or not. You would have to deliver based on the agreement of your company with the client and your agreement with your project manager, so to say. So it has to be like one to one to one, so to say. So it has to be streamlined. Now, in a lot of companies, they don't really do testing. So no unit tests, no end-to-end tests, nothing, right? If that is agreed upon by the client that they don't really want tests at all, they want to ship fast, they're probably let's say, for example, they are in the startup stage, and they are in the pre-seed stage at the moment, and they're working on the MVP. They really want to get things done because there's a meeting coming up, let's say with the angel investors in 2 weeks, and they really want to ship or make everything ready. And that is the time there, then you should really not care about the clean code at that moment, if that's the deliverable, because you're going to slow things down. They're not going to be able to meet the targets, and they're not going to be able to secure the investment. In that case, I'm just giving an extreme case, or it could be a more general case as well. So clean coding is good, but what you do in the organization or how you work would be determined by what is agreed upon by the whole team. So this is important to understand, that you need to blend in with the team on how they want to work. If you want to practice clean code, create side projects. If you can't do side projects, switch the company, leave the company. Because if that's not what they really want to do, and this is exactly what you want to do, then there's no match, if you understand what I mean. So for me, I've worked within projects where there was almost no testing at all, because the client did not want us to test at all and wanted us to ship quite a lot, which we already told the client that it would result in technical debt, it would result in problematic code. If things go wrong, it's going to be hard to debug and fix those. That does not mean that we are writing completely crappy code or our code quality is not good, but it's not tested, right? So I think those are the things that you would have to agree upon within the project manager, and then also with the client as well. And you would have to go with what is expected from the client. If you really want clean code, if you really want tests, then you have to convince the client to come on your worldview or your perception or what you want to do. Otherwise you're doing opposite to what the client wants, and that would result in even your team losing the project. So that's not the right way to go. So I hope that makes sense. Vakar says, I'm from C# background, graduated in 2024, April. Okay. What would you suggest me about giving an interview? Should I start giving interview while learning things, or should I complete my course first then? I think it really depends. If you're looking for jobs which require people to know things already, then you're not gonna find a job. If you can find jobs which allow you to come as an internee, and they can spend time on you, to teach you, to help you grow, have someone who is looking after you during your time in the internship, then you can keep applying. I think it doesn't hurt to start finding jobs, but I think it would be, what would be more important is that you have clear expectations. So you know exactly what you're signing up for, and you know exactly that it's not going to be easy to find a job. So the idea would be to not get disheartened if you don't find the job. You can still apply for jobs, but the reality is that you're competing with people who would have a lot of experience, and you also have people who have been laid off from their companies as well. So we know the layoff situation is pretty, pretty evident at the moment. So in order to find a job, one needs to have a good portfolio, one needs to be more public about what they're building, sharing that information as well. So if you have a good portfolio, then it's easier for you to find a job. But I'm not saying it's impossible to find a job without that. So keep applying, but you keep your expectations low, and and don't be like a person who that you're applying and then you're getting sad like I'm not getting any jobs, because that's not realistic then. So I hope that answers the question. Mohammed Faizan says, "Thank you for your opinion. I've understood that I need to consider companies and clients' expectation first." Yes, absolutely. That's really important, because I think, look, the mindset should be how you have a job. How do you keep your job? That's one of the biggest thing, especially if you're in a survival mode, and if you don't have the luxury to just leave the job and you're like, nah, I want to write clean code. If you don't want it, I'm just gonna go home. If you can't do that, then you have to follow. Obviously, you have to keep the job as well. What I've learned from years of experience is that it doesn't matter what way you're working with. You could be working with bad practices, you could be working with good practices. In either case, you learn, and you learn a lot. So it could be that it's a different kind of learning, but you would still learn quite a lot. Let's say you're not really testing anything and you're finding shortcuts. I'm not saying that's the best way to go, but let's say you're trying to find shortcuts to just build something, and then shipping thing fast, making the clients happy with that because you're shipping thing fast as well. Even if you're finding shortcuts, even if you, let's say, don't know the code, but then you become good at it, and then you may also grow as a software developer. Now it's a different perception of if that's good, that's bad, who thinks that's good, who thinks that bad. I don't want to go into it, but in either case you learn quite a lot. So what I would say is that you need to blend in with the team, and then you need to draw a line where this is what I cannot compromise with. And when you say that this is the borderline, and then that's there in your company, then you can say I'm going to leave. Otherwise, yeah, you just comply. Just comply, you give your opinion, and don't be shy about your opinion. You can give your opinion like, this is why I want clean code, because these are the problems that are going to happen in the future. So we may not have good code quality, we may have tech debt. And then the manager says, that's fine, and the client says, that's fine. Well, then you just code according to them. साद अफजल सर, सर मेरा एक डाउट है, जैसे कोई सीनियर डेवलपर है एक लोकल सॉफ्टवेयर हाउस में, उसने वहाँ से इंटर्नशिप करी है और 2 साल तक काम करा, ओके, पर वो कंपनी उन्हें अप्रेजल नहीं देती, तो वो बंदा स्विच कर लेता है, तो उस चीज़ पे आपका क्या टेक है? आई जस्ट रियलाइज़ कि मैं कुछ हेडफोन से सुन ही नहीं रहा, और मैंने हेडफोन्स लगाए हैं, दैट इज़ कॉजिंग मी टू स्पीक लाउडर. अच्छा, ओके, सही है. तो व्हाट यू आर सेइंग इज के 2 years. So for 2 years you've worked in a company and that hasn't give you an appraisal. तो इस चीज़ पे आप क्या टेक है, क्या करना चाहिए? आई मीन you can ask your manager, and if they don't still promote you, then I think you should leave the company, or you should tell them that you're going to leave the company if that remains the same. So if they have not promoted you for 2 years, why? Ask that. What do you can also ask clearly, what do you need to do to get promoted? और फिर आप इस चीज़ को एनालाइज कर सकते हो. यू कैन एनालाइज इफ यू कैन डू what it needs to be done for you to get the approval or appraisal. For example, with every single appraisal meeting that I have with my managers, I usually ask them, okay, this is where I stand, this is the next level, what do I need to go to the next level? And you can simply ask. If they can tell you that, okay, this is what you need to do. For example, in my case, it could be that, okay, you need to lead more teams, you need to come up with more initiatives, you need to, let's say, spend extra time apart from your 9 to 5, just hypothetically. And I think, no, extra time, I cannot do it anymore, because I'm more than 30 years old. Just kidding. But let's say I say, no, extra time is not something I can do. Then I can't do it. Then I would just be at my whatever level I am, and I will get the normal appraisal, and that's fine. Because you need to, I think there are two sides of this. What you are at is an extreme case, which is you're not really getting appraisals as well. I think the question should be why. That is, if समथिंग कैन बी इम्प्रूव्ड ऑन योर साइड, तो आपको वो इम्प्रूव करना चाहिए. ठीक है, मैं उर्दू में स्विच करूँगा सिंस योर क्वेश्चन वाज ऑल्सो ऑन उर्दू. तो अगर आपको 2 साल से इंक्रीमेंट नहीं मिल रहा तो आपको पूछना चाहिए कि ऐसा क्यों है, और आपको ये पूछना चाहिए कि क्या ऐसा करना चाहिए कि मुझे इंक्रीमेंट मिले. सही है. अगर उनके आंसर में कोई ऐसी चीज़ है जो आप फिक्स कर सकते हो तो आपको वो करना चाहिए. और अगर उनके आंसर में ऐसी चीज़ है कि जो आप फिक्स नहीं कर सकते, जैसे वो कहें कि हमारे कंपनी के हालात अच्छे नहीं हैं और हमें हायरिंग करनी है या हमें इस जगह पे इन्वेस्ट करना है, तो वो चीज़ ऐसी हैं दैट्स नॉट ऑन यू. तो आप कुछ भी नहीं कर सकते उसका. इसका मतलब ये है कि अगले 2 साल भी आपका इंक्रीमेंट नहीं होना. ठीक है, तो उस केस के अंदर आप कंपनी छोड़ सकते हो, आई थिंक. वकार सेज थैंक्स ब्रो, योर आंसर्स आर हेल्पफुल फॉर मी, गॉड ब्लेस यू, बारकल्ला. Waqar says, I did an internship for 4 months with a senior software engineer. He did not give me the experience certificate. I mean, it depends. I can't say on behalf of everyone else. So there are good people, there are weird people in companies. तो बहुत different situation है. But yeah, I think ethics wise, there's a mix of things everywhere. So I've had similar experiences as well. बट यस, आई थिंक सर्टिफिकेट शायद इतने ज़्यादा इंपॉर्टेंट नहीं है जितना सुकून है. तो सॉरी, माई कैमरा जस्ट डाइड. तो आई थिंक इट्स मोर इम्पॉर्टेंट टू हैव like ease and a bit of relaxation in the companies while you're also learning and growing as software developers. तो yes, compromise देखना पड़ेगा. Where do you want to draw the line in that case? अच्छा, with that said, I think I wanted to end the stream a while ago. तो we are at 2 hours and 27 minutes. तो हम इसको end करते हैं यहाँ पे. I'll do some reading before I go to bed, inshallah. I also have to pray Isha as well. तो और फिर कल काम भी करना है. तो let's end it. Thank you so much everyone for joining, and keep an eye out for the YouTube channel. तो उसमें there are some good tutorials coming in as well. Or there are also some books coming in as well. So keep an eye out. साद अफजल कह रहे हैं, अच्छा let's take the last questions and then we can wrap it up. साद कह रहे हैं, सर ये नोटिस पीरियड 3 months का रखते क्यों कंपनी? इस वजह से कभी कभार गुड अपॉर्चुनिटी निकल जाती है. नोटिस पीरियड 3 months का आमतौर पे उन कंपनीज़ के अंदर होता है जो थोड़ी सी बड़ी कंपनीज़ होती हैं, ताकि आप अगर किसी प्रोजेक्ट पे काम कर रहे हैं और उस प्रोजेक्ट पे अब आप अचानक से छोड़ के चले जाते हैं, तो देयर इज़ नो वन टू वर्क ऑन दोज प्रोजेक्ट्स. ठीक है, तो आमतौर पे इसीलिए होता है. और दूसरा इसलिए भी होता है कि ये दोनों साइड के लिए हेल्पफुल होता है. आप अगर क्लाइंट साइड, यानी कि आप अगर कंपनी की तरफ से देखो, तो अगर कोई शख्स कहता है कि मुझे छोड़ के जाना है, तो उनको ऑब्वियसली फ़ौरन से तो कोई दूसरा एम्प्लॉय नहीं मिलेगा. उनको भी हायरिंग करनी पड़ेगी, इंटरव्यूज़ करने पड़ेंगे, और उसके बाद फिर जाके कोई आपकी रिप्लेसमेंट मिलेगी. दूसरी साइड पे आई थिंक ये लोगों के लिए भी थोड़ा सा फ़ायदेमंद होता है बहुत सारे केसेस में, कि कंपनी आपको नहीं रखना चाह रही और वो कहती है कि नहीं, वी आर गोइंग टू फायर यू. तो उस केस में भी आपके पास 3 महीने हैं, तो आप 3 महीने तक अपनी जॉब्स वगैरह ढूंढ सकते हो. तो इट डिपेंड्स. आमतौर पे आई मीन इट रियली डिपेंड्स ऑन फ्रॉम कंपनी टू कंपनी. कंपनी का कल्चर कैसा है. हमारे पास कुछ सिचुएशंस के अंदर कंपनी के कल्चर ही अच्छे नहीं होते, तो 3 महीने गुजारना बहुत मुश्किल हो जाता है. बट फॉर एग्जांपल स्वीडन हो गया, या मे भी हो सकता है स्वीडन के अंदर भी ऐसी कंपनीज़ हों. तो मैंने जिन कंपनीज़ के अंदर काम किया है उसमें एटलीस्ट जो एम्प्लॉयज़ हैं उनकी रिस्पेक्ट होती है एक हद तक, या एक हद तक नहीं, रिस्पेक्ट होती है. तो इवन इफ़ आप कंपनी छोड़ के जा रहे होते हैं तो भी आपको एक सुकून होता है. यानी कि ऐसा नहीं होता कि अब आप कंपनी छोड़ के जा रहे हैं तो एवरीबडी स्टार्ट्स लुकिंग एट यू बिल्कुल डिफरेंट तरीके से. और आपके जाने की अनाउंसमेंट भी काफ़ी पहले हो जाती है. ऐसा नहीं होता कि वो जो हमारे पास आमतौर पे होता है कि नहीं नहीं किसी को बताना नहीं, वो बता देंगे तो फिर वो भी चला जाएगा, ये हो जाएगा वो हो जाएगा। तो आई थिंक ये रीज़न है। लेकिन मेरे ख्याल से 3 मंथ का नोटिस पीरियड शायद 1 महीने के नोटिस पीरियड से बेहतर है, मुझे ऐसा लगता है। क्योंकि 1 महीने में कंपनीज़ के लिए इतना आसान नहीं होता कि वो दूसरे लोगों को ढूंढ पाएँ। तो आई होप दैट आंसर्स द क्वेश्चन। ठीक हो गया। आई थिंक इसको हम यहाँ पे एंड करते हैं। इफ़ यू आर वॉचिंग दिस ऑन एनी ऑफ द प्लेटफॉर्म्स, फेसबुक, लिंक्डइन, यूट्यूब, मेक श्योर टू गिव अ लाइक, make sure to subscribe to the channel if you have not already, because there's a lot more coming in for Angular, hopefully for Next.js as well, maybe in the second half of the year. And also there's also a possibility of books as well. So we'll see how that goes, but right now I'm focusing on the Next.js versus Nest.js and Angular course, which is going to be a big one. So this is going to be how it looks like. So keep an eye out. The first video is almost actually done. It's being currently reviewed from Cloudways. So hopefully once that is approved, we can upload that and you can actually start working on it. It's about 1 hour. So it's going to be a lot of learning in that particular video. So yeah, and I think it's more suited for a bit more senior developers, but still I think if you have some experience with web development, you can still learn it or learn some significant amount of things from it as well. So having said that, thank you for joining today. It was fun. And thank you for asking a lot of questions. Thank you for chatting as well. And I'm going to see you next time. I'm pretty sure I'm not going to stream before Eid. So, or before Eid, at least on weekends for sure. So, see you inshallah after Eid. So, Ramadan Mubarak to everyone, and Eid Mubarak in advance as well. I jumped to VS Code creating HR management system using AI. Awesome. All the best. And I'll see you later. Allah Hafiz.